Welcome to Untamed and Unfiltered Wellness, the podcast where we're tearing up the rulebook of conventional wellness because one size fits all never fits anyone. I'm your host, Joe Swenson, herbalist and founder of Olivia Bell. I've been wrestling with something lately: loneliness versus isolation, because they're not the same thing. And it took me a little bit longer to realize there was a difference. Loneliness is a feeling, whereas isolation is a behavior. You can feel lonely in a house full of people, and yet feel connected even when you live alone. Psychologists distinguish between perceived loneliness and social isolation, and both independently affect our health. There was a massive meta-analysis of over 3 million people, and it found that social isolation increases our mortality risk by 29%, and loneliness will increase it by 26%. This makes it a public health crisis, and that's why this topic matters. But here's the real question: do you feel lonely, or are you actively isolating from people? We all have seasons when we're not feeling very people-y. I know I've had my share, and normally it's when I'm feeling stressed, but for others it could be when they're grieving, overstimulated, or just plain irritated. Sometimes taking that step back is a way for us to regulate our stress. But if you're now consistently saying no, if you've become the person who declines every invite, and if people have just stopped asking, you need to ask yourself, is this stress recovery, or am I avoiding something? Self-isolation is a form of protection. When your stress is high, your nervous system narrows your tolerance, and we get more critical, more reactive, less patient. This is stress psychology because chronic stress affects emotional regulation and our threat perception. So yes, sometimes staying home, that does feel safer. But long-term isolation chips away at our health. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General issued an advisory linking chronic loneliness and isolation to cardiovascular disease, depression, anxiety, dementia, and premature death. I'm not trying to be dramatic. These are actual facts. So let's get honest. If you keep saying no to invitations from the same group of people, there are two possibilities. Number one, maybe it's them. Number two, maybe it's you. If it's them, it's okay, because not all connections are healthy connections. If you consistently feel drained, judged, competitive, or unseen around certain people, these negative social interactions will actually elevate your stress hormones and your inflammatory markers. So I want you to hear this. You are allowed to outgrow these people, and you are allowed to upgrade your friend circle. But if it's you, maybe your nervous system is fried, maybe you're overwhelmed, maybe you don't want to make small talk and answer that question, "How are you? Where you been?" That's when isolation starts to feel protective. That is different. And if you've been doing that for an extended period of time, you need to get out somewhere. The good news is that even sitting in a coffee shop, they call this passive social proximity, hearing other people talk, hearing their stories, eavesdropping, has been shown to improve our mood and reduce stress. But what if you aren't the one isolating? What if you've noticed that maybe somebody has kind of disappeared, fallen off the radar? They used to show up, now they don't. They say no every time they're asked to go out, and maybe they're the quiet one in the group chat. They just don't respond. Social withdrawal is one of the early behavioral signs of depression and chronic stress overload. But the part people miss the most is that the person pulling away often can't initiate reconnection, which means they've reached the point where they want to start hanging out again, but they don't know how to do it, which means it's on us to reach out to them, not to try to rescue them, fix them, or give them the third degree. Just reach out, because simply knowing that somebody cares significantly improves our resilience and positive mental health. So send that text. The, "Hey, haven't seen you in a bit, thinking about you. Want to grab coffee?" That's it. You don't need to make it deep conversation. Just let them know that you're thinking about them. Take the first step. So here's your homework for the week. If you're the one constantly saying no, figure out why. Is it misalignment? Then adjust your circle. Is it stress? Then work on some stress regulation before you start to isolate. And if you see someone drifting, reach out. Try to bring them back. Connection doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's just sitting there, saying nothing, and remembering that you're part of something. But connection, even imperfect, quiet, unpolished connection, that is real medicine. I hope you make some time today and every day for some peace, some plants, and some pause. Thank you so much for listening to Untamed and Unfiltered Wellness.